Look back at the worst atrocities of the 20th century, and you find a staggering scale of death. The Nazis, led by Adolf Hitler, killed somewhere between 5 and 11 million people. Genghis Khan and his Mongol Empire killed around 20 to 40 million. Chairman Mao's communist regime oversaw the deaths of an estimated 40 to 70 million people. This chart shows the estimated casualties of every war throughout human history. Add up every combatant, every civilian casualty, and those who died from resulting famines, and the total reaches an estimated 1.5 billion deaths. Yet that entire history of human conflict is overshadowed by a single medical practice, widely legalized in the 1970s. Since legalization, global abortions have amounted between 2.5 and 3.5 billion deaths. Women have ended 3 times more lives through abortion than men have killed in every war, genocide, or purge combined. Modern society has now institutionalized a mechanism of death that outpaces the worst recognized atrocities in human history. This is not a historical artifact. Right now, there are roughly 73 million abortions taking place every single year. We look back in horror at the human sacrifices conducted by the ancient Aztecs, yet we are currently living through an era of routine infanticide that dwarfs their rituals entirely. The immediate defense of this practice almost always points to extreme circumstances. Those specific, evil crimes combined account for less than 1.5% of all abortions. Even if you completely remove those extreme circumstances from the data, over 72 million babies are still killed every year before they get a chance to live. Using a statistical anomaly to defend the entirety of the practice distracts from the undeniable reality taking place on a massive daily scale. So, if the vast majority of these 72 million annual procedures are not the result of extreme emergencies, what is actually driving them? This visualization shows the survey data from women seeking the procedure. 74% state that having a baby would dramatically change their life, and 73% say they simply cannot afford a baby right now. These justifications, personal convenience and financial timing, only take root when a child is redefined as an optional accessory or an obstacle to autonomy. Modern feminism served as the primary catalyst for this redefinition, prioritizing individual self-actualization over the preservation of new life. Activists successfully campaigned for decades to reframe the termination of a pregnancy from a solemn tragedy into a human right. As a result, the procedure is no longer treated as a rare medical necessity. Instead, it is predominantly utilized by women as a post-facto contraceptive. This dynamic involves a profound failure among men, who frequently engage in sexual acts purely for pleasure, abandon their duties as fathers, and often pressure or coerce women into getting abortions. But women ultimately hold the power to end the pregnancy, often choosing to reject their biological responsibility to be mothers. By divorcing sexual intimacy from procreation and mutual responsibility, society has adopted a highly disposable view of human life. Erasing billions of potential human lives from the generational timeline over the last 50 years carries an unavoidable macro-level consequence. This graph tracks global birth rates. Over the last 20 years, they have dropped from 2.7 to 2.4. In Western nations, they have already fallen below the critical replacement rate of 2. The total population still looks like it's increasing, but that is merely an illusion. Past birth momentum and longer life expectancies are masking an impending cliff. If current trends continue, we will hit that cliff between 2050 and 2060, triggering a severe global population decline. We are staring down a demographic contraction on a scale the world has not seen since the Black Death in 1350. While the purchase of the 20th century were measured in millions, the consequences of this ideological shift are measured in billions. By creating a demographic cliff that threatens the very survival of Western populations, feminism's impact has eclipsed the devastation of every war and genocide on record, proving it to be the most destructive ideology in human history. Reversing this trend depends on more than just policy. It requires a return to the responsibility of fatherhood, the commitment of motherhood, and the outright abolition of abortion. Only a society-wide rejection of worldly promiscuity and a fundamental return to traditional Christian values can repair this grave historical error.